evening and happy new year to everybody on the call. It's awesome to be gathering again in this new year 2023. I can see from the chat function that there's a lot of questions already coming through. That means we've probably got quite a few new people, or we've got people moving towards new competitions, new contests, new parts of our ecosystem. So hold your questions. You're on the right call. This is a training call. It is a presentation call, and we're going to be going through these questions together. Just very quickly, can you all go into the chat function? Let me know where you're dialing in from and what the time is over there. It's great to see so many people dialing in, but we want to know where you're from. I'm currently in Dubai. It's 7 p.m. here at the moment. We can see Florida 10 a.m., Chicago 9 a.m., Andorra 4 p.m., UK 3 p.m., USA 10 a.m., Tampa, New York, Houston 9 a.m. as well. A lot of Americans online. Great to see all the family, the brothers and sisters from the US. We see Nigeria, Texas, Portsmouth, Tobago, Trinidad on the call as well. Nepal, welcome to the call. Let us know what time it is over there. Michigan, India, fantastic to have you on the call as well. So we've got over 500 people already. These calls normally bloom past 1,000 people live here on the Zoom. We've got people watching us live from Facebook, and then it goes out into our YouTube channel. So we get about 10,000 views over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm hoping over this next 1 hour, I can bring you as much value and clarity as possible that you can go back into your teams. You can sit with your council team leaders, your directors, your executives, your ambassador leadership, and you can start carving out a game plan for the next 30, 60, 90 days based on clarity of the company and of its products. And so we've really got two parts to tonight's call. We're going to do a presentation together. So I'm going to go through the official presentation with you. There's one or two new slides that you're going to see that we're going to be bringing into the official presentation for the wider community to use. But I want you to see and hear from corporate first on that presentation. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation. So we're going to go onto the whiteboard here, and we're going to have a conversation on how this product works, how to position it, how to understand it, and we're going to do some Q&A together. So I'm going to ask you to hold your questions until it's applicable, and rather lean in, take notes as we go. And when I stop and ask questions, you give me your feedback, you ask some questions, and we learn together over the next hour. I'm also going to ask you to refrain from just typing, because suddenly you get excited, like, oh, I want to like thrash out a message here. I'm going to ask that you just slow down a little bit tonight so that we don't fill up the screen with chats that might not be applicable to what we're doing together. We really want to get the most out of this hour. So if you're ready to go, if you're ready to dive in, just type 60. In other words, you're giving me 60 minutes of your time, and we're going to dive straight into it together. So I can see some people writing 60, some people have just typed 0. Okay, so getting none of your time, that's okay. But a lot of people 60, 60, 60. So I think we're ready to go. And so we're going to go straight into company presentation together. It'll be short and sharp. And then we're going to go into a conversation, instruction type teaching together. So let's dive into it. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to do this together. If you're new, just in the chat function, just type new. I would love to know who's new on this call. If I haven't yet introduced myself, my name is Bruce Hughes. I'm part of the corporate team. I'm the official corporate trainer. And so when it comes to products, knowledge, or when it comes to presentation, products and services, you will hear from me fairly often. But let's dive straight into this together. Welcome, Alex. Welcome, Marsha. Welcome, Anita. Welcome, Jerry. Great to have so many new people on the call. Looking forward to meeting you over this next season of 2023. So let's have a look at this new digital era that we're moving towards, with new language like metaverse and meta mining and meta trading and meta brokerage and meta. Essentially, all that's happening inside of the technology world is we're moving from internet 2.0 or Web 2.0 to Internet Web 3.0. And it just means that the engine behind the internet, behind how we present and move products and services, behind how we send information, behind how we do payments is changing. And that change is bringing about new language and new ways of doing business. One of the companies that has embraced this change and is really leading the charge on being a big player in this change is GS Partners, along with the companies, the products and the services that it brings into the marketplace. Now, I do want to tell you that I'm not a tax advisor, so I'm not going to be giving tax information. I don't know what your tax territory's laws are. I'm not going to pretend to know what they are. I'm also not a financial advisor, which means our company is not going to be teaching on or giving financial advice. We're not going to be selling financial products or services. And any partner companies or product companies or service companies who work through our technology, they will have the required certification and licenses in place in order to operate in their different territories. So that's the one disclaimer I do want to put up front. Please just type the letter D if you clearly heard the disclaimer, because I don't want someone asking a question like, hey, what does this mean for tax? Or what advice would you give for this? We're not going to be giving out that information. So please don't ask for it. I want you to know what this disclaimer means. Fantastic. We've got 5 of you have typed D. The other 680 something, I'll wait for you to catch up. It's okay. It is a Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. I get that it's middle of the week, but please interact as much as possible as we go. So in this very short presentation, we're going to look at who we are as a company and as a community, what our products are and what our primary product is. We're also going to have a brief look at our ecosystem, so how we're structured and why we're structured that way. And then lastly, we're going to have a look at our marketing plan. In other words, how our company takes its products and services out into the marketplace and how we obviously generate commissions to those who are marketing our products. So those are the 4 things we're going to cover together. To everybody typing D, thank you so much. We're going to move on from here. GS Partners is a blockchain-based technology company. In other words, we are focused on the Web 3.0 innovation, evolution, and revolution. We're aware that that means that new marketplaces like metaverse marketplaces are going to become the normal in the next 5 to 10 years. And so we want to position ourselves inside of that market. GS Partners is the marketing arm. It's the marketing division. It's the marketing community for all the products, all the services that are wanting to get a footprint inside of blockchain technology, inside of Web 3.0, and inside of the metaverse marketplaces that are going to grow up over the next 5 to 10 years. We know that this market is already expanding and growing. You can go and get these stats for yourself from places like Statista. You can start seeing the different industries and sectors that blockchain as a technology is disrupting. You can start seeing the projections on how big the markets are going to get. Please go do that research for yourself. There's enough data being gathered out there to support the numbers that we do share with you tonight. Very briefly, it's important to understand that change is here, and we don't have to be afraid of that change. By getting onto calls like this, by plugging into communities like ours, you can get educated, you can get equipped to move towards that change. We saw our cellular devices change over the last 10, 15, 20 years. We saw how we shop online change over the last 10, 15 years. We've even seen our motor vehicles go from petrol and diesel to electric. We've seen the way we watch movies change from videos to DVDs to Blu-ray to now we just stream it. So change is normal. It is nothing to be afraid of. In this specific presentation, we're going to be looking at the change within the decentralized finance space, because that is one of our core products. Again, it's not a financial product, it's a decentralized financial product. And so it is behaving differently, it is positioned differently, and it is being positioned to the public differently to how other financial products are being positioned. So come with me as we take a look at this together. We will be focusing a bit on how you can leverage this product in order to create weekly payouts due to our payback program. We'll also show you how to leverage our product in order to benefit from quarterly payouts over an 18-month period from some of our managed accounts and paybacks. And we will talk about meta mining and meta trading and copy trading as well. So that's what we're covering in this brief call. I'd love for you to take a screenshot of what you're seeing right now. Essentially, all we're wanting to do is simplify what can sometimes be a bit of a confusing ecosystem. Simply put, we're looking at accessing one key that can access multiple markets, and inside of those markets are multiple programs, products, and services that generate rewards, and those rewards come back to the key holders in either weekly, quarterly, daily, and sometimes bi-monthly payouts as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at together. So I want you to hold on to that vision, that idea of we're going to look at one key that unlocks multiple products and services in multiple marketplaces. That key specifically inside of our ecosystem is called a meta certificate. And we have 8 different price points, so 8 different types of keys that can be purchased. The marketplace we talk about is something called Lydian World. So you'll hear our community speaking on Lydian World. And the different payouts and paybacks that we talk about are generated through our different products, our different services offered once you have access to that marketplace with your meta certificate. So just in the chat function right now, I want to stop for a moment. It's been a lot of information, but just with this simple flow diagram, the simple screen, just out of 10, what is your understanding on what we're talking about? 10 being, this makes a lot of sense. I've seen a lot of these already. I've seen a lot of this type of presentation. 1 being, I'm brand new. This is really overwhelming. And then any number in between, just to show whether you're starting to understand that the world is changing. It can be complicated, but what we as a company have done is we're offering a key as our product that essentially unlocks the value of products and services that are coming through our metaverse. That is, in a nutshell, what we're offering out into the marketplace. Seeing a lot of 7s, 6s, a couple of 10s. Those are some of the guys who've been around for quite a while now. 8s, a 4. Thank you so much for being honest. Again, I know this can be overwhelming, but we're going to simplify it with you over the next coming days, weeks, and months as we go with you on this journey that's already 2 years old for us, but is going to be 5, 10, 20, 30 years old as we, as a technology company, keep evolving with this blockchain and with these new technologies. So let's move on together. Let's have a look at one of these keys, what we call a meta certificate. Every metaverse certificate has a whole lot of different information on. It's almost like reading a mini contract. And so when you get off this presentation and you sit with the person who invited you onto here, go and have a look at the 8 different certificates and go and read the detail in each one. Each key has a different set of information, almost like a mini contract that's got certain little nuances that you really want to understand. So don't be lazy. Get into each one of the 8 price points, have a look at it, have a look at how you can start generating from our payback program, how you can start generating from the different products and services that we have. These meta certificates essentially, again, are the keys to unlocking all the activity, all the products and services that sit inside of our metaverse. So I just want to see if you've been listening. What is our metaverse, or what is our marketplace called? I gave you a hint just now. It is somewhere on the screen as well, but I just want to keep you moving forward. I want to keep you understanding with what is the name of our marketplace, our Web 3.0 metaverse that our different products and services are inside of. Fantastic. Some of you type Lydian World, Lydian World, Lydian World. Some of you are typing with your knuckles. I can see because the spelling's flipping all over the place, but that's absolutely fine. I can see that you're following with this short presentation. Thank you so much. Let's move forward. So this metaverse product can generate weekly, quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly, daily rewards by gaining a meta certificate, plugging it into this marketplace. But how is this certificate actually going to the market? Well, we use our marketing team, and that marketing team is called GS Partners. If you're on this call, it's because somebody is saying, I'm already part of the marketing team. I'm already a registered GS partner. And so I've plugged into their partner program and I'm marketing these. So you can also go and register with GS Partners. You can also purchase this key. You can also start generating an income. And if you choose to, you can become an active marketing partner and generate commissions as well. And so before we go into really knuckling down on our product, which we're going to do over here, I do want to talk about our business model. I do want to talk about the commissions that you can get through our partner program. I do want to let you know that we have some big names and some big influencers who are already putting their reputations alongside our brand. When we traveled into South Africa, we saw some big names and meta stars in that market who are marketing our brand. Here in Dubai, when we hosted events, we saw some big names and big brands from different sporting arenas, different social arenas coming in. You might recognize one or two faces on here. In the chat function, let me know if you can identify any of the famous meta stars who have linked towards this project, who have literally put their arms around our partners and said, I love that these guys are marketing this brand. I love that they're marketing this product. You might notice them. So just in the chat function, let me know if you recognize any of these faces. If you're looking on a phone, you might need to come a little bit closer to get a closer look. If you're on your laptop, zoom it open. Yeah, we've got some of the South Africans I can see have identified some of the South African sports stars. I can see some people have picked up. We've got Floyd Mayweather sitting inside there, absolutely big in the boxing arena world. If you lean across, you can see some sports stars like Cristiano Ronaldo in there, Roberto Carlos in there. You know, we've got some great guys who got together and went and played some football, some soccer. For those of you in the United States, they went and played at Miami. It was an amazing celebrity matchup, some big names in there. So those are people who are looking at our products, looking at our company, putting their reputations and brand alongside ours. Absolutely. Lucas Khadebe, someone's just typed in there as well. Fantastic. I can see some of you do follow sport. If you don't know who they are, don't know and don't stress about it. But they are some really good people and we like them as well. So let's have a look at our partner program very briefly. To become a partner, in other words, to become someone who is going to go out and market this and essentially become like a mini franchise, you can do that by paying $33 each month. And every time you pay that, you essentially can access the marketing links, you can access the marketing promotions. You've got a team who then tracks all the products that you sell, and you get paid in real-time commissions for doing that. So that's pretty handy. The commissions are paid in cryptocurrencies. So, you know, people can earn in Bitcoin, they can earn in Ethereum, they can earn in USD Tether, can earn in G999, Lydian status, etc. So we have multiple different cryptocurrencies people can earn in. You can earn in direct sales, so 15% if you are a YouTuber, if you're an Insta influencer, if you come from a sales background and you're good at moving products to people, great, 15% on direct commissions. If you're someone who is good at working in teams, so maybe you come from a network marketing background or you come from an affiliate marketing background and you work with teams of people, then you can earn as deep down into those teams as 9 levels. All of that paid in real time at the moment of purchase. It is one of the big pros of working in blockchain is that every transaction is tracked in real time. The ledgers are kept up to date in real time. And so as a company, we're not holding commissions inside of a bank account, unable to pay them suddenly because somebody is not up to date on whatever banking regulation they're in. We're able to receive and distribute immediately according to blockchain technology. So that's a good thing. That means that we're never carrying debt as a company. We're never indebted to our sales team. It's also possible to increase that rewards potential by working with teams of people. So if you just look at people paying the $33 subscription to be marketers, you can build up a fairly large network. That's not where the main sales volumes are coming up from, to be brutally honest. Our main sales volume actually comes from the movement of our primary product, the meta certificates, and that's why we're going to be spending a little bit of time on that together. We do have 8 different types of commissions that we pay out depending on people's activity. So there's the direct commission of 15%. There's the 9 levels deep based on people within your team selling. We also have fast start commissions, so people who come into our business and hit the ground running in the first 30 days. We've got volume-based commissions. So based on how much total product is being moved through you and the different sales teams that you're maybe building and helping lead and equip, and those are called Blockstar pools, as well as mid-month accelerator and infinity pool bonuses. As a company, we set aside 4% of our total sales volume to go into the Blockstar pools. We set aside 4% of our total sales to go into the infinity pool bonuses. We set aside 4% to go into the mid-month accelerator bonuses. So we're always looking at the health of the company, and then we're putting it back into our marketing community, our partner program, so to say. And then lastly, we do have a card product that we ran for almost 2 years. We're busy doing a major update to it. We're getting some extra banking licenses in place so that we're more autonomous as a company. And then we'll be sharing the swipe fees on those MasterCards back into our community as well. Just type MasterCard if you've ever used a MasterCard before. I'm sure you'll know that those are fairly handy. I've got a MasterCard. We're swiping it in stores to pay for coffees. We're swiping it to fill up our car with petrol. We're swiping it to fly on airplanes, book into hotels. We're swiping it for groceries. Can you imagine receiving a portion of all those fees back in just by becoming one of our partners and marketing our card services as well? So we think we've set up something pretty good here. We've looked at the numbers. It's certainly been big, sustainable, and momentum building over the last 2 years. And I can tell you quite honestly that we've probably had our biggest months in the last 6 months because there is a movement towards this technology. The wider market is starting to look for safe companies with proven track records that are sustainable, that have simple products. And so we've really seen a lot of growth over the last 6 months, especially. And you'll probably read about our company in sites like Business at Home, which has us ranked in the top 2 right now globally. So that's a fairly exciting bit of news to share. So if you are wanting to move towards us as a company, if you're wanting to move towards our partner program, it really is as simple as registering an account. And whoever invited you onto this call can send you a registration link. That's fairly simple. Step 2, I would strongly encourage you to get a product, a key, one of those meta certificates working for you so that at least you can start generating weekly paybacks from our programs. You can start generating quarterly paybacks from our managed portfolios. You can get your product working for you. And then step 3, if you wish to join our partner program, come into the training calls that are hosted by our different field leaders, by the council team. You might hear names like Mitsa Nakos, Michael Delco, Martin Thibault, Andrew Eaton, Tony Diggerbauer, Priska King. And then they've got a strong leadership core, people like Brian Cromley, John Johnson, Brendan Earp Jones. These are people out in the field really setting the tone in the different marketplaces and absolutely exploding exploding their teams and market awareness. So those are the 3 simple steps. We could make it more complicated than that. Absolutely, someone's just typed Dr. Tybes. If I've left out a name of someone who's helping you, please don't take offense. We've got a very big community at the moment, and we're only 2 years old. So it's still early days. So I'm just going to stop sharing there for now. That really is just a brief presentation touching on the fact that we've got a simple product. It's a digital key that essentially unlocks all the products and services taking place in our marketplace and generates profits, generates rewards back into whoever holds those keys according to the key that they've purchased. Higher value key is unlocking higher value in the marketplace. So if that is our brief conversational presentation, then it's time to flip across onto a little bit of training, a little bit of teaching, a little bit of positioning to help simplify some of what you may have just seen. And if you don't mind, I am going to take my jacket off now for this bit. It is warm here in Dubai. I know we're in the middle of our winter, but it's pretty warm here anyway. And I want us just to have a slightly more relational, conversational tone together. So we're going to flip into really how to understand and leverage these certificates. I'm not going to explain any strategies here. I'm going to maybe touch on 1 or 2 things, but I want to encourage you that when you get off this call, maybe message the people that you're connected to and say, hey, what is our strategy? What are we building towards with what's on the table right now? How can we best take advantage of really accelerating our 2023? Just type 2023 if you remember that we're in an entirely new year, that 2022 is done now, that we got new goals, we've got new focus, maybe we've got some new dreams, maybe there's some things that have opened up this year that were shut in 2022 and shut in 2021. And that's really what this call is about. It's how do we structure ourselves, position ourselves, really get clarity for this brand new year that we're sitting in. Fantastic. All right, we've got quite a few people who know that it's 2023. To the rest of you, maybe your hands are full, and that's absolutely fine. Let's take a look at how to get clarity from what we've just covered. So central to absolutely everything we do as a company and community is simplifying what can be really complicated. And so we wanted to create a product that is super simple and that we can link all our activities back to. And that product is called a meta certificate. That's our product. So whether you're buying a $250 meta certificate and loading it with another $250, or you're on the other end of the spectrum buying a $100,000 meta certificate and loading it with $300,000, wherever you are on the spectrum of affordability, the information I'm going to share is still relevant to you. Our meta certificates essentially unlock 4 different key areas of value. Unlocks 4 different key areas of value. The first thing that it unlocks is what we call price value. We're going to talk about that in a moment. The second area that our key unlocks is something called load value. The third area is something called trade value. And the fourth and final area that our meta certificate, that our key unlocks, is called mining or mine value. These are the 4 different value propositions that you can access immediately with your one product, your meta certificate. Now, for tonight's training, I'm going to be spending time on just one price point, so only one certificate. It's the $1,000 certificate. It's called the Hermes certificate. But take the information I'm sharing, go back to the certificates that maybe you've been looking at the different price points, read the information on there because it could be more valid to you. But for tonight's sake, we're looking at the $1,000 Hermes certificate. Okay. Hermes, that's what we're looking at. At this point, I'm making a mistake and just assuming that you can all see this. Can you just type yes if you can see the writing on here? And I don't mean that writing. I know that I got my spacing wrong here. I started very, very generous with the letters here. and realized I wasn't going to fit it all in. Okay, great. Yes, yes, yes. Good. We can keep going. Fantastic. Good stuff. All right. So we're going to be focused on the $1,000 Hermes certificate. And there's quite a bit of information on here. I want to start with this section over here, the top section, because it's more important than the bottom section at this stage in the game. Now, you can take offense from that, but I want you to understand that there is a flow of action that makes one area more important than another on day one. And the flow of action is in the purchasing of the certificate, which in this case is going to cost 1,000. So that's our price point. And plus, that's a plus sign. I should probably make that fatter. Plus the load of the certificate. And by taking that action, that primary action, you've just activated a whole lot of different payback mechanisms for yourself. The moment you purchase a certificate and load it, you activate some payback mechanisms for yourself. Let's have a look at the activations that have just taken place. On the price of the certificate, you've just activated 4.15% weekly being paid back to you in our payback program. Now, there's some people who are saying 4.15%, that's absolutely impossible to sustain. Where are they taking that 1,000? Are they trading it? What markets are they putting it in? Are they maybe gearing it and leveraging it? There's a whole lot of people, trying to make up reasons as to how we sustain 4.15% weekly over an 18-month contract period. So I want to make this super, super simple for people to understand. The companies that we've partnered with, the companies that manage our load and trade it for us, the companies that provide us a trading environment if ever we go and pay and move towards this. The company that provides all of that, they have a client acquisition budget that they spend every year and have been doing for the last 12 years onboarding clients. All we've done as a company is said to them, why don't you release that budget to us every time we acquire a customer for you? Have a look here. The person who purchases the Hermes certificate, who pays the key price and loads, essentially they've just given that over to be managed on their behalf, to be managed in an environment that pays out quarterly according to what the markets are doing. What kind of markets are we talking about? We're talking about stocks and shares markets. We're talking about Forex markets. We're talking about crypto markets. We're talking about commodities markets. That's not helpful. Let me go CR for crypto commodity. Okay. Those markets, we now have capital being managed for us in traditional markets over an 18-month period. And that company would normally have to go and spend money on advertising, on call centers, on acquisition. There's a whole budget that goes into that process. We've just said, release that budget to us. And that's what sustains that. That's the relationship in place. So buying a certificate and loading it, that's one action, releases two payback mechanisms. Now, the question we get asked is, what can I bank on per quarter? You can't bank on anything per quarter. For maths reasons, we're going to say 6%, because historically we've seen that. But I can ask the question right now, we're on this group, everybody can access the chat function. Do you think the markets are giving out a 6% per month at the moment? I want people to be very clever with the answer here. Do you think the stocks and shares markets, the Forex markets, the crypto markets, the commodity markets are all being traded at a healthy, at least 6% every month? You can bank on it. Thank you for all the honesty in the group. For those of you who don't know, because maybe you're just not interested in markets at all, I can tell you that right now, 6% is not what's taking place. But let's have an audit of that statement in 18 months' time. Okay, are we all comfortable saying, let's audit what that looks like in 18 months' time? Because that's how long the contract period is anyway. Let's see what happens over the next 18 months. But that is the first part of your meta certificates. Type yes if you're excited about knowing that you can almost bank on that. I'm saying almost because short of the company going bankrupt, which isn't really possible considering I've explained how the money's flow within our ecosystem. But there's a 4.15% being released due to client acquisition budgets. And here's our quarterly that's being managed for us inside of our load environments. Those are the first two quadrants. That's half of everything you need to know about our primary product, our meta certificates, without complicating it, without going into, let me take a look at what the markets are doing, and if you take a look at this project over here, or did you read the news on that exchange that failed? I understand that there are exchanges out there who definitely have gone and done things wrong. I understand that there are projects out there who are not creating hot wallet flows like we have, that have not created easy to understand products. I get that. What I'm asking you to do is lean into a 2-year-old, that's how long our partner program's been running, lean into a 12-year-old technology provider, lean into a company that's not dealing with central exchanges, not dealing with cold vaulting and cold wallets, that isn't holding capital insecurity in crypto. That is awesome. We're not set up like that. We're not set up to try and hold on to people's assets. We're set up as a partner program to let those flow and distribute into the different quadrants in order to create income. If those markets, those products, or those services are performing. Right, so that's quadrant 1, quadrant 2. I want to spend a little bit of time on quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, and then we're going to flip into some Q&A, because I promised you that this would be a presentation first and then a conversation. So let's do this together. The same company that is helping us with a managed portfolio, so let's just call that a managed portfolio there. That same company also offers a trade environment. What do I mean by trade environment? Well, there's the opportunity to copy trade. What does that mean? That means you can literally put capital into an environment and copy a successful trading strategy, or you can trade for yourself through leverage trading. And in that case, we're talking about being plugged into real-time traders with real market experience who are running trading competitions at the moment. In fact, we're going to be running 2-week trading competitions. Right now, we're sitting in the middle of a 2-week competition. And if you plugged into that competition, you're going to get leverage, not just leveraging your money, but you get to leverage professional traders and their professional time as they teach you how to trade. Now, you can't get into this unless you have a meta certificate. One of the questions that was firing through earlier on in the chat function, someone was asking, how do I deposit money into my trade account? Every time I go to the trade button, the deposit button, it goes blank. Unless you've got a meta certificate, and unless you are loading capital through that meta certificate, you can't put money into this environment. And don't worry, I'm going to show you on your dashboard how to do that in a moment. But in this environment here, in the trade environment, you can copy trade, follow someone else. This has been interesting. I'm going to let you know that even as a corporate representative, I'm also allowed to have my own personal accounts. I've got a GS partner account that I buy meta certificates through. And so I've been placing capital in here since the 12th of November. Super interesting to see what it's done since the 12th of November. I'm actually going to open that account for you in a moment. I want you to hold on to the fact that I deposited 5,000 euros into this account. So when I open that up, I'm going to show you some numbers. You can do the math on what that's done since the 12th of November. And I'm certainly looking forward to these trading competitions, because I think more than anything, we're going to get a lot of people learning through the process of these competitions, leveraging the experts, leveraging their time, leveraging the training, leveraging the one-on-one calls, and we're going to get a healthier community for it. Type the word trading if you've never traded before, but you would love to plug into an environment where somebody's at least going to teach you the basics. And maybe you never do anything with it. Maybe you say, well, that was an interesting exercise. I understand it, but it's not for me. I would encourage you to still do it anyway. Fantastic, fantastic opportunity to plug into. The last quarter that we have is a super exciting, but sometimes left out or left untouched quarter that our meta certificates open up. Let me tell you very briefly what this is all about. Our Lydian world is a digital world. That means that there is digital real estate. Now you might go, digital real estate, that means nothing. Well, right now, if you are watching this, it's because Zoom has digital real estate. It's called a domain, and they are hosting all their intellectual property and their functions on something called a server. Just like if you were using Gmail, Gmail has digital real estate. It sits inside of someone's servers so that they can offer email services. Technically, it sits on Google's services, right? Google, same thing, digital real estate, stacks of servers that host intellectual property. That is Web 2.0. That's where digital real estate is hosted. It's hosted in centralized servers. Now, buckle up. This might be a new concept. The Lydian world and metaverses are hosted in digital real estate, but in decentralized server bases and processes. In other words, all the intellectual property that make that website, that make that marketplace, that make the activity happen inside of it is decentralized. So there's no central choke point that can be manipulated or broken or corrupted. That is where mining comes into play. You see, in our Lydian world, in order for you to get your hands on digital real estate that will host products and services in the future, I want you to understand that not right now. It'll host products and services in the future. The same way that we're seeing websites hosted now, okay? That digital real estate can only be bought with a very specific token called Lydian Stata. Lydian Stata can only be mined out of our Lydian world if you have a meta certificate and you are putting capital into the process of mining out Lydian Stata. Now, there's only ever going to be 88 million Lydian Stata token ever made. That's it. The limit on the amount of Lydian Stata that'll ever be in existence is 88 million. Some people are selling this into the market for about $7 to $6 at the moment. Okay, that Lydian Stata is being sold at about $6 or $7 at the moment. There's only going to be 88 million. In 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, 5 years' time, as products and services go from being housed in central servers into decentralized servers, in other words, as they get housed in decentralized digital real estate, that digital real estate will only be purchased with Lydian Stata. Who of you is collecting Lydian Stata through the activity of mining? Who is collecting Lydian Stata through the activity of mining? Who is buying it off the market? Just say market if you're buying it off the market. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's not like one type of person is better than another. I'm just telling you that the people who are mining it, you can only mine it if you purchased a meta certificate, because the meta certificate then gives you access to the ability to go and mine Lydian Stata. These are the 4 quadrants that this one meta certificate gives you access to. Primary action, the price, and then the load. So a total of $2,000 spent immediately activates a payback mechanism and a managed mechanism that starts creating rewards for you, and now gives you option to start moving towards digital real estate or moving towards a copy trade environment or leverage trading, where you can leverage your capital, leverage your time by working with experts inside of the trading markets. I'm going to ask you again, out of 10, where are you sitting at now with your understanding, without going into all the techie, nitty stuff, on broad brushstrokes? Where do you stand with your understanding at the power or the clarity of these meta certificates? Yes, there are 8 of them. Yes, there are different price points. Yes, there are certain nuances, but as a broad brushstroke, where are you sitting with your understanding? Okay, 8s, 2s, 6s, 7s, 9s, 5, 4, 2, 7, 10. Okay, fantastic. We're moving upwards. That's a win. I'm going to stop just there. I want to start a conversation with you, and then we're going to flip into a little bit of compliance and a little bit of our compensation plan as well. Here's the good news. This is being recorded. You can watch it again, and we will be hosting monthly trainings. We'll be hosting weekly calls. They won't all be trainings. Some of them will be corporate calls, like the one coming up soon. Some of them will be trading calls. Some of them will be training calls like this one. I can tell you that if you want to get into the nitty gritty, if you really want to dig down into some of this detail, you have such capable leadership and core sitting in the field right now that you can plug into. In fact, if you got onto your phone and you WhatsApp the person that you connected to and said, who is in our core team that has really become an expert on this mining thing, or who in our core team is really understanding how to leverage this price load action, who in our team is really digging into this trading, you'll probably find there's someone in your community already. Now, before we go into Q&A time, I want to talk about this very briefly. There are 2 things that you can do with this, 2 strategies, and you as a team need to go and weigh this up. You as an individual need to go and weigh this up. One strategy that we're seeing teams using is they're taking their weekly payouts. Let me just flip into a different color. I hope that you can see this red. Just type red if you can see this, please. Okay, we got some strategies, or some teams are using this strategy. Just type red if you can see red. Okay, fantastic. Okay, some people have a strategy where they are taking their 4.15% weekly and they are compounding it into this managed portfolio over here. Okay, so sometimes you will hear people talking about, this is our compounding strategy. We're taking our weekly payouts, we're moving them across into a managed portfolio. We're compounding it for that 18-month period. So that's one strategy. You can sit with your teams and do some numbers on that. Please understand that when you sit as a team, when you sit as an individual, you do some numbers on that markets fluctuate. Okay, so it's not like you can bank on a specific number every single time. We've got some other teams that are taking the 4.15% weekly, and they are accumulating it enough in order to purchase another one of these. Okay, in other words, they are increasing the number of certificates that they have. That's called stacking. Okay, so one strategy is compounding, where you take the 4.1 and you compound it into the quarterly environment. Then we've got other teams that are doing something called stacking, where they take the 4.1, they accumulate it up to a price point where they can purchase another one of these meta certificates. And essentially all they've done is they've now multiplied their ability to earn that per week and multiplied their ability over there. So one might be slightly linear for a period, one might be slightly more compounding for a period. I don't know which one's going to give you the best value over the 18 months, but it's worth understanding that people talk about compounding, they talk about stacking certificates. You might want to sit with your teams. Oh, there you go, Marcos. So some people call this laddering. Laddering, fantastic. There's another term, laddering. Okay, just when you lean in with your teams, work out which strategies work best for you. Having said that, I'd love to answer some questions that are specific. I want you to listen to this. I want to answer some questions that are specific to any of these 4 quarters that we've just covered together. So please use the chat function and don't take offense if I skip your question. I'll skip anything that's not relevant to this because we can always come back to something on another trading. I will also skip questions that have been asked so briefly that they're actually tough to understand. So I'd rather you slow down, took time to type your question out carefully so that it makes more sense. So let me just flip down. Okay. Let me try to find some questions. Hold on. If it looks like I'm a bit squint, it's because I'm watching all the different screens. Okay, so Caroline is asking, what do you get for mining? Caroline, are you asking what the actual product is that you get? The actual product is Lydian Stater, the token that's currently valued at about $7 a token and can only be used to buy digital real estate. If you're asking what the percentage is, in other words, hey, what is the percentage that you get from putting capital towards that? It's different according to your certificate. So there's quite a range on the percentages that you get. So I can't even put an average there. The higher the certificate in value, the higher the range of Lydian Stater that you receive for that certificate. So just go read each of the certificates. You'll see there's a breakdown under each. Let's see. Okay, so a question says, there are some people who say 4.15% is not sustainable. Absolutely, it wouldn't be sustainable if it was out in a trading environment or being recapitalized or being repurposed. That's obviously not the point here. There is a set budget that is being spent on client acquisition. So maybe if I draw a picture, it'll be a little easier to understand. I like pictures. I think that's super simple. Okay, so normally, and we're talking specifically on how the 4.15%, so 4.15% weekly, where does that budget come from? Think about it like this. Normally, for someone to acquire a client, so let's put the word client down here. And in this case, we're talking about ourselves. So what would the cost be to get someone to put capital, to load capital into a managed portfolio environment? Remember, who's ever managing that is paying you profits, but they're keeping a portion of the profits as well. That's how managed accounts work. It's important to understand that. The company that is doing that process, they have something called a client acquisition process. So they will have a marketing budget that they go and spend on marketing, by branding teams, by putting on the side of buildings, by putting television commercials out. They will also have a staffing budget. So how many staff they will need to then take leads from the marketing. They will have a staff that then take leads from that in order to do onboarding. That is going through the process of onboarding those clients, doing the KYCs, doing the checkup and all of that. And then they will also obviously have a department who then monitors the accounts flowing in and out of that normally. All we've done is, because we have blockchain, is we take the client acquisition cost. Okay, GS Partners is the marketing team, so we tick that box already. GS Partners is the staff who sits and trains and onboards people. GS Partners is the team that essentially teaches people how our product works. And then our blockchain monitors exactly how much capital flows in where, and it timestamps it. So blockchain does the accounting for us, which means that by the time someone is loading their certificates, the budget that would have been spent by the company that manages this has now been released to us instead. That's all that's happening. That is released to us, and that sustains our 4.15%. I'm hoping that that's clear, because I can't really make it clearer than that. That's the contract and agreement that sits in place. It's a great question, by the way. We're getting questions on, please, can you go over the trading competition that launched on the 2nd? I've got better news for you. There is a recording that has been posted into our YouTube and Telegram account that already goes over the trading contest. And we've got the trading team. That's Skyground, that's Liam, that's Alex Ulfka, Aline. These are all people from the BD Swiss wheelhouse who literally set up Skyground in order to make this all possible. They've done a recording on that. They'll also be reaching out to you individually. So if you've decided to onboard money into that competition, expect a phone call. I hope your KYCs on GS Partners are up to date, because they'll use that data to call you if you've moved towards the trading competition, and they'll be guiding you through the process of how to trade responsibly. If you want to know how to load money into that, you do need to go into GS Partners. You do need to go to your Meta portfolio section, and next to any of the certificates that you own, next to any of them, you will see load more, you will see Meta Trade. The moment you click on Meta Trade, it allows you to put a deposit in there. Now, here's the good news. Those of you who are generating 4.15% weekly, if you on a $1,000 Hermes certificate and you wait 2 weeks, you would have generated $83, which is the bare minimum to place inside of that competition. So maybe you're missing this competition because you didn't have any G-Euro, you had nothing to deposit into the competition. Don't worry, we've got another competition coming up. So please don't stress if you've missed that. If you want, I will shoot a short video showing exactly how to click, 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 and I'll post it out into the community as well. So I'll shoot that, because I think maybe there's enough people asking that question. Another question is, how do we access the trading bonus? So again, if you're new, all of our products have bonuses attached to them in some way, shape, or form. And so when you purchase a Meta certificate, you do get a bonus that is gifted to you at the end of 18 months to your managed accounts. You also get a bonus that's gifted to you for trading. And the way that that bonus is released is 10% of any trade that you do, whether it's a profitable trade or even a loss trade. So in other words, if you go and profitably trade $10 on a trade, it's going to release 10% of that from your bonus. So another $1 released. If you lose $10, it's also going to release another $1 to you until your whole trading bonus has been eaten up. So that's how the trading bonus is released according to your trading activity. I just want to blitz through some of this. On the expiry after 18 months, do you receive anything back? Now, if you're asking questions about what happens after 18 months, or where can we get more information about the Meta certificates, the bonuses, etc., I'm going to ask you to go into your GS Partners dashboard, write down this sequence of clicks you're going to do. Go into your GS Partners dashboard, the main dashboard, the one that drops all the way down the side of your screen that has a whole lot of different tabs in it, and scroll all the way down to Meta Portfolio. Click on Meta Portfolio, and it gives you 4 more drop downs. Gives you 4 more under Meta Portfolio. The fourth one is FAQs, frequently asked questions. Scroll through the FAQs, you will find a section that talks about what is given back to you at the end of the 18-month contract. It clearly states which bonuses, which load, what you've accrued. So please go through your FAQs together. One question that we get a lot of is the quarterly payouts. People who have loaded. So we're going to go back into our load language here. So remember, here is our quarters. Okay, here's our quarters that we've just spoken about. We've got price, and then we've got load, we've got trade, and we've got mine. We're talking about load at the moment, and we're talking about the quarterly payouts that you get on your load. Oh, that's not a percentage. We're talking about quarterly payouts that you get out on your load. It's important to understand that this runs over an 18-month period. So month 0, month 18. And so every quarter is 3 months. So here's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It's important to understand that when you first put load, in other words, when you've purchased and you've loaded your certificate, you might be putting it somewhere over here in the quarter. It might be day 1, day 2, day 5, day 12, day 36 within a quarterly period, which means that it's not being traded for that full quarter. It's only being partially traded. That means it needs to be traded through the partial quarter into the full quarter period. And so many of you will notice on your quarterly payouts that your first quarter tends to be anything between 3 to 6 months before the first quarter payout happens. And then after that, you will see it then regularly hitting your quarterly payouts. Just type yes very quickly if you understood that section. We'll go back into the other questions. I get asked this question all the time. When is my quarterly payout? It's been 3 months already. It's been 4 months already. You're probably going to see it do its first payment in like month 4, 5, or 6, depending on when you loaded it within that first quarter period. Okay, it can't be partially traded for a quarter. It's got to sit for a full quarter, and that's why it gets pushed through so that at least it lines up with whenever the next quarter's period is. Okay, lots of people are typing yes, yes, yes. Great, I hope we've nailed that one in the coffin. I would love to figure out how to type that out better so it's added to the frequently answered questions section. I'll wrap my brain around it and put it in there. Yeah, I understand that everyone prefers the red mark, the black mark. I'll go back to that if we do any more drawings. Okay. Let me just check. When can we use? Oh, that's been answered. Okay, we got a question that says, how do we get G-Euro back into Bitcoin? So again, for those of you who are new to our community, here's the black one that's useful. The payouts that are made from our 4.15% weekly, the payouts that are made quarterly, and even the trade activity, okay, are all paid in something called G-Euro. Essentially, all that's happening is that because of the partnership that we've got in place with our Euro-based company, the moment we use Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or Binance USD, anytime we use a cryptocurrency to purchase and load, at that moment, it's flipped into Euro value because it's then either managed or traded at a Euro price tag, as well as we're being paid back weekly because the budget is a Euro price tag. So we needed a value holder that showed that whatever you used has now been exchanged into a stable environment, a stable currency. Stable in inverted commas. We're not having to debate on fiat currencies right now. So your payouts are also done in G-Euro. So how do you exchange that back to Bitcoin? There's an exchange function in GS Partners. It's under a tab called Financial. So please go to your Financial tab. So under the main dashboard on the side of your screen, you go to Financial, you go to Exchange, and you simply select G-Euro. It will give you the option to exchange it into USDT. So in other words, it's giving you the option to go from one stable to another. Once you're in this stable coin, you can exchange it to Bitcoin wherever you like. You can use our own exchange and go from USDT into Bitcoin, or you can choose to send that USDT to maybe your favorite exchange and flip it into Bitcoin as well. Okay, great question as well. And then yes, you can withdraw or compound. We do know that, yes. Okay, let's take a look. Earlier you mentioned cards. When will they be released for new members? Ben, the corporate team will update you on the release of the new card once it is ready. No, that question's but you said you'll talk about competition. I see if I did say I'll talk about competition, but I also wanted to honor the 1 hour limit here. So I think what I'm going to do is set up another call and talk into competition. I did want to touch on commission as well. And so I haven't given us enough time, but I think 1 hour is pretty good on concentration. And so looking at the questions, our very next call will be talking on commission specifically, and talking more on competitions, because there are some cool competitions, not just happening in the trading environments, but some cool competitions that corporate is launching specifically for 2023 as well. We're going to stop there because I can see a lot of these questions are either repeats or they're questions that I've answered, or they're not specific necessarily to this. Now, this call is recorded. Oh yes, someone wanted to see my trade account. I'll tell you what it's done instead, because then I won't have to log in. I won't have to waste any more time. So I told you to remember that I had deposited 5,000 as of about 6 hours ago. This was sitting at so someone can do the math on that. The account was opened on the 12th of November. I funded the account, and today is the 4th of December. So work out whatever that percentage is just on copy trading. I think it's done okay. So yeah, I did want to share that. Right, so that is me done. I have gone over the hour. I think we're at maximum concentration for this call. I'll set up another training call with all of you. There are two action points that I really want to encourage all of you to take. Action point 1, please reach back to your council team, to your leadership team, to your core team, and ask them what your strategies are on certificates, because I'm telling you right now, when you've all got the same strategy, it starts building momentum. So ask what the strategy is on that, and ask them to do a goal setting session with you as a team. Okay, we've got a massive 2023 coming up. We've got a super simple product to take to the market. As a corporate team, we're going to keep bringing value. We're going to keep bringing in more and more to our ecosystem. But everything that we're going to bring into that ecosystem is going to come through this key. So if you don't have clarity on the key and how best to use it for yourself, then it doesn't matter what else we bring in. You don't even have step 1 done yet. So I'm going to ask you to reach into your team, say, what is our strategy? What is our goal for 2023 on step 1? Get real clarity on that. Do those 2 things. That'll set you up for the corporate call that is coming up next. Now, the corporate call was scheduled for Saturday the 7th. I've already communicated that. What we are finding and receiving, having been on calls with our corporate team, is that they are currently, most of our corporate team is currently on holiday in France and in Switzerland. Most of them on ski holidays right now. They've earned it. I want to tell you, I work with these guys. They've earned a holiday. The problem with them being on ski holidays right now is that the signal when we've got onto calls has been great and terrible depending on the weather. And the weather is the one thing we cannot control at the moment. So we are moving the call from the 7th. We are moving the call. I will communicate to the community when the corporate call is. It'll be next week, possibly Wednesday, because then our corporate teams are all back in their home bases. So please watch the newsletter reel, watch the news site for our next corporate call. Go home, do those 2 action steps that you set up for our corporate call. And then lastly, a quick shout out. If you don't know about this, there is a roadshow event happening in Stockholm, Sweden. It's being hosted by our European leadership under the guidance of Pierre Gard. I will be posting the link where you can log into the ticketing website. You can see the speakers, you can see the itinerary, you can see the price, you can see which hotels to stay in. If you want to, come to the roadshow event being hosted in Stockholm, Sweden, in the 2nd weekend of February. That's the 10th, 11th, and 12th, I believe. 10th, 11th, and 12th. Then you need to get onto that website. You need to book your tickets. It's going to sell out fast. We will be flying our corporate team into that. We will be linking arms with the best leadership in the field These are the people like Nitsa Nakos, like John Johnson, who have been breaking records. We'll be linking arms with them and giving the most value we can into the European territory. So if you can get to that event, make sure you get onto the site, you book your tickets with the leadership hosting that site, you pay for your tickets, you get into the hotels. We can't wait to see you all in February. Thank you for your time. Thank you for more than an hour of your time. I look forward to seeing you all on our next training call together. Please watch the channel, the YouTube channel. Please watch the Telegram channel for any videos, announcements, posts. I will be releasing those over the next couple of days. Thank you so much all. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Cheers.